We have all our people here and it's 6.
All right, are we all
Yeah.
on and everything? Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded. May I have a roll call?
Dr. Freeman?
Here.
Dr. Agua?
Here. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders past, present, and future who call this place, Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue the tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Now I'd like to move on to the public comment period. At this time, any member of the public may speak on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the parking committee that are not on the agenda. The committee will not take action on any item not on the agenda except as provided by law. Is there any public comment at this time? All right, I see no public comment, so we'll move into our discussion action items. Item 3.1, the parking study update.
I'm just going to turn it over to Emily, who will present, and I can share screen, Emily, for you, or
I can share my screen here. Oh, it says it's disabled. If you can,
you should be good.
Give me access. Oh, here we go. And Julie's just going to run through the presentation, and I'll advance the slides.
Great, thanks so much for having us here today. Emily, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. I'm in my mobile office right now, so I appreciate your all's understanding for that. But again, my name is Julie Dixon with Dixon Resources Unlimited. I'm joined by several members of our team here today who have been helping with this project. For everybody's awareness, the steering committee and this project is being funded by not only the Isla Vista Community Services District, but also UC Santa Barbara, as well as the County of Santa Barbara. And so that steering committee with all of the names listed there are a part of this project and these project updates. This is our second time before you to help keep you all apprised of the project and of the progress that we are making. And if you'll go to the next slide, Emily. So one of the things that after we had our previous meeting, there was a conversation, the proposed vision. So what you see here before you is basically an approach that we want to make sure that when we talk about the vision and objectives of this project, and I will go ahead and just read through these, is to demonstrate that the parking system should be not only inclusive, but adaptable, efficient, safe, and eco-friendly. And you can see that as we talk about some of the subparts that ties into this, is to really, again, tie in all of these factors when we're talking about mitigating congestion, trying to streamline, be as efficient as we possibly can be, making sure that it's equitable, making sure that we're thinking about all modes of transportation, whether it be pedestrian friendly, bicycle friendly, skate friendly, wheel friendly. That really ties into this and the inclusivity aspect of this. And it's one of the reasons why we're excited about this next phase of the project, which we have been waiting for the students to return to Isla Vista so that we can start this next phase, which is really some of the surveying and the more aggressive to the outreach component. But first, I'd like to share with you just some of the project updates. We have continued our data collection. And in fact, just this last weekend, we were actually out there collecting data. I actually spoke directly to our data collector, and he absolutely shared the impacts and understanding of moving and what a different experience that was from doing the data collection in August. But one of the things that I am really excited for you all to see when we gather the results from September is some of the imagery that we've been able to capture. We've used a lot of drone imagery as well as our license plate recognition technology. And so I'm really excited about some of the trending and trend analysis that we'll be able to share, especially with the advent of the September data. As most of you know, we did our site assessment in August, and we also had our long-term resident stakeholder meetings. And I'm proud to report that we've actually ongoing engagement and communications from some of our longer-term residents, which is really demonstrative of their engagement and involvement and awareness. And they've also been obviously continuing to provide us with some direction and feedback. And then this again being our second attendance for the parking public meetings as well. And it's our intent to continue these presentations as long as you'll have us so that we can keep you apprised of the project status. And if we'll go to the next slide, Emily. So what you see here, and this is something that we're excited to continue sharing, is as we continue to collect the data, you can definitely see the implications of the data collected during the spring quarter versus the summer quarter, and seeing some of those impacts. Obviously, the differentiation on the occupancy during the summer months comes as no surprise to anybody in and around La Vista during that frame. I do want to reiterate as well that we have shared. Oh, Emily, can you? Yep, perfect. If you can put that in, thank you very much. Appreciate the comment there, Jonathan. So one of the things I wanted to be sure to reiterate, in previous parking studies, the discussion about the space length has been in question. And so we wanted to be very forthcoming in identifying the fact that we are using a standard 20-foot parking space length with, if it's adjacent to a parking, to a driveway, we're using 18 foot. So understanding that that compression of cars in Isla Vista is obviously so relevant. And the reality is if we increase the space size, it's just going to demonstrate an even higher occupancy level too. So this is something that, again, we will continue forward with. And as we've talked in past meetings, we'll be adapting some of our collections in the coming months so that we'll do a Wednesday, so that way we'll be able to demonstrate that 2-hour occupancy levels as well. And so those numbers will continue to come forward, and we'll be able to also demonstrate some of the trend analysis for not only how long the cars are staying, but also how far they're moving as well. So next slide, Emily. So in terms of those next steps, I probably got ahead of myself, but we will draft the existing conditions and parking needs assessment. Some of the items we've already talked about, and we've been really pleased to be able to be engaged with the district and having some conversations about parking management opportunities that are in front of you, and to really continue that conversation. We'll obviously continue coming back here for these updates and sharing with you the breadth of data that we continue to collect. I did want to also highlight that in addition to the Isla Vista data, we've also been capturing occupancy data down at Goleta Beach. And we're also continuing to stand by as we wait for permission to collect additional data on campus, not only for the UCSB on-campus locations, but UCSB property owned off-campus as well. We're looking forward to launching the survey on October 12th. We're just finalizing the wording for the survey and getting that ready for that. And that's really where we're excited, because that's really where we'll really debut throughout Isla Vista, especially for all of your returning residents and new residents, and getting that outreach going, and hopefully getting as much messaging out there as possible so that we can get those responses back. And then we are scheduled to be on site on November 1st and 2nd. I know that those are dates right after Halloween, which I know is an impactful time, but looking forward to taking advantage of the conversation about parking with the steering committee, as well as conducting some of the focus group meetings and also a parking town hall. My hope is that everybody will be in and around town or returning to town so that we can capture as many folks in Isla Vista as possible. And we are always open to your feedback and suggestions. And I know that this was a quick one, but I think that in these coming months, we're going to have a lot more to share, and we've got a lot of information in this next meeting to really show you, especially with the outcomes of September's data results, which we just gathered, and we're looking forward to bringing those forward to you all. So with that, obviously our contact email, iv@dixonresourcesunlimited.com. Please feel free to utilize that, and I'm open to answer any questions for you all.
And I've never had it
All
share
right.
the meeting controls like that, so sorry about blocking it.
No problem.
All right, thank you all for that presentation and for that update. I had a quick question. I just wanted to know about how many folks, you mentioned that there are folks who are continuing to reach out to you since our long-term resident stakeholder.
I think we've had
Did
two
you
or
say how
three,
many? Okay.
yeah, two or
Sorry.
three folks have reached out since then.
hoping I'm not frozen. Is it their camera that's frozen?
I think they
Okay,
might be.
thank you, James. Okay.
It might have been.
I
so
see
you
John.
hear you.
Oh, now they're back.
This is hardwired.
Did you all hear that response that we've had outreach from about 2 or 3 residents?
Now we do. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. We had a little delay on our end, but 2 to 3 residents got it. All right. Do you have any questions? All right. Well, with no current questions from the committee, I'd like to open this item up for public comment and questions. Do any members of the public have questions or comments? Right. All right, I'll go back to the board. Is there any committee comment or further discussion on this update? All right, I don't have any comments myself. I'm just glad that we're doing this. I'm excited to see that new set of imagery from the drone perspective. I had a walk last week where with our general manager actually, where we saw a lot of interesting parking jobs on Del Playa, a term I would consider triple parking more than double parking. But it was definitely creative. It was a creative solution from the residents to make things work. So I'm really excited that we have this study happening right now in order to capture that reality, and that we can finally share the true nature of parking in Isla Vista. So thank you very much. Yeah, before we close this item, I just want to make sure there weren't any questions that you were seeking from us or from the community that you might want us to give more direction on currently.
I'll look to Emily, but honestly, right now, you all have been so responsive, and honestly, it's really been about the data and kind of us waiting for everybody to come back post-summer. So I think that we've been spending a lot of time preparing for their return, and now we're just ready, like, let's go kind of thing. Not to be enthusiastic, but the ground laid. And so now we really get to go out there and start to, get the messaging out there. I just think you will all be entertained to know that the fellow that did the data collection, the first time he had been in Isla Vista was in August. So I kind of prepared him for what it would be like when he came back. But the first thing that I spoke to him about was like, hey, so what was Del Playa like on Saturday? And if you could have seen his wide-eye response to me, you would all appreciate that. So I thought you'd be entertained to know that. But he definitely said it was a challenge navigating a DP on a Saturday night, but he was able to get it done. And I really am looking forward to you being able to see the comparison on the drone images. I think that that's also going to be very helpful when we start to talk about the apartment parking in the parking lots and realizing how many cars they really are fitting into those locations. And especially when we talk about the driveways and sidewalk access. So I do think that that's really going to be telling, especially when you look at the summertime imagery compared to the fall imagery as well. I think that's going to be a real helpful resource.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll move on to area 4, our future meeting dates and future agenda items. The next meeting of the parking committee will take place on November 7th, 2023, in a location to be determined, or no, to be determined.
Might not be here.
Might not be here. Okay, yeah. Location 2 still be determined, but we will be on Zoom, and it most likely will be at 6 p.m. If there's any future agenda items that anyone would like to see from this committee, please let us know. None? All right, then I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Quick one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.